The search for the perfect venture can turn into procrastination. Your idea may or may not have merit. The key is to get started. Again, the search for the perfect venture can turn into procrastination. Your idea may or may not have merit. The key is to get started. So I listened to two examples, of why you can't look for the perfect venture. And not only that, even in the venture that you know you want to do, why not, why trying to make it perfect, how it can lead to procrastination, or how it can lead to maybe someone surpassing you with that same idea, because you were trying to make it perfect. This person put it out, even though it wasn't polished, but they're now the first on the scene with it. No matter what all the work you've done before. Now, when you release yours, it's going to be like, oh, this guy's copying. I think I mentioned something about that with the if you read the full story of the Wright brothers, you will see that they weren't the only ones trying to build a flying machine. And they weren't actually even the first to successfully do it. So the first example of somebody's success was due to them not trying to make it perfect, even in a field that they had no knowledge of. And it was a podcast I was listening to about a game designer. Actually, he became a game designer. He wasn't originally a game designer. And when I say game designer, I'm talking about mobile games, apps. So I think the name of the game or the name of the app, I've never played it. My first time hearing it was on that podcast, but I asked my daughter, has she ever heard of it? And she said, yeah, but it's called, I think it's Color Switcher. So this guy, he was a military veteran, get out of the military, tried to go to college, tried the traditional things we do that we think we're supposed to do. And I'm not sure, I can't remember what gave him the idea to start making apps, but he did. And I think he said he put out like something like 40 apps or 40 games before he put out Color Switcher, which was his biggest success. And even the podcast interviewers, there were two interviewers on the podcast, they were asking him, like, were you a game developer or were you an app developer? Did you do anything with apps or anything like that? And he was like, no. But why it resonated with me so much is about a year or two ago, I remember having this idea for an app, and I started researching how to develop apps and all this. And of course, I was going to try to learn coding and do all this stuff. But I guess now there's this like WYSIWYG type application that can help non-coders, non-developers do things like this. And I think I've heard of it before. But I had this idea of an app that can make the home brew, like I'm an amateur home brewer, meaning I beer brewer, that can make the home brewing process 100% based off what sort of beer you want to brew, like taste. And so that was my idea for an app, but I never thought it could be, I guess it was like my want for it wasn't enough. My desire for it to create it wasn't enough. Otherwise, I would have created. And even now, I don't even think there's still been anything like that made. So what resonated with me with this interview was this guy sort of had the same thing. Like he had no clue about coding. He had no clue about making apps, but he learned from just putting them out there. 40. 40. Now, I don't know what it took to create 40 apps or 40 games, but I couldn't even create one. not even like a rough draft of one, a beta version of one. But this guy didn't wait for perfection. He went in knowing that. And I mean, it's an awesome interview. I may put the links. The website or the podcast is a Toastmasters podcast. So I may put the link down in the description if I remember. But if I don't, it's Toastmasters. And I think I'm trying to remember the title of the episode. I can't remember the title of the episode. I think it had something like game designer in the title. So find the Toastmasters podcast. Look for the one that talks about a game designer. And I don't even think he calls himself a game designer. But anyway, so now with I guess he had a lot of success from the color switcher app or game. I'm not even sure if it's a game or app. And now he hires people to develop his games. And then as of the recording of that podcast, he mentioned he had like two or three more games or apps coming out. And now what he does for his time, because now he outsources that, he travels. He do the things that he was initially going to do, but didn't have the money to do. Like he plays music. He has a band. I think he's doing something with theater also. So he's doing all these things that he wanted to do as a result of doing something that he had no idea how to do. Yeah, I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like he found a way to do the things he wanted to do by going through an avenue that he had no knowledge of. I don't even, like I said, I can't remember. I wish I would remember why he decided to do that app, to start app development. I can't remember why. But it's like, this is a regular guy. He was an ex-military, just a regular guy. I think he said he tried to go to college, and I think he said he majored in theater in school or something like that. But perfect example of, like, just because you don't know how to do something is not a reason not to do it. It's not an excuse. Like my last podcast was talking about excuses. He that is good at making excuses is seldom good at anything else. This guy didn't and then he's colorblind. And I'm thinking the game Color Switcher has something to do with color, but this guy is colorblind, which is fascinating.